Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Lately I realized that some of you might get bullied because of your accent or when you make mistakes, whether it is at work or at school and so on. I myself have been bullied lately. Usually I do not care about haters and it made me very sad. Um, Also, I didn't really understand why that person felt the need to bully me. And then I realized that most of my students might experience the same. I, for one, I'm very self-confident. I grew up speaking English, and honestly, I would not be really affected. However, I thought that some of you guys might become more uncomfortable speaking English, feel ashamed when you make mistakes, or even lose your self-confidence. And that is the wrong thing to do, guys. If you do that, then your bullies and haters win. And I would like to thank you guys for the incredible support you have shown me. And I feel this attack on me and on my community has actually brought me closer to you, my students, because I felt your support and your love and all of your nice words. You have been such a great teacher to us. You have taught us to be self-confident. We want to thank you for your hard work and so on. And for this reason, I would like to invite someone special today. I'm sure you're all familiar with Mike the Chameleon. He's American, a native speaker from California. He has got over 10 million followers on TikTok, almost 2 million followers on Instagram, and he's also active on YouTube. So you can find his account below if you would like to follow him. Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here.
Sure. So, Mike, have you heard?
Yes, yes. It's too bad. It really makes me sad when I see people out there spreading hate. Yeah, these haters, or also known as bullies. It especially makes me so sad when I see someone who I respect as much as I do you getting attacked. It broke my heart.
That's for you. Yeah, it's really sad that they needed my face, to make to get more views or whatever, but it also brought me closer to my students and it made me realize that if the same happens to my students, because sometimes my students tell me that they're afraid of making mistakes, that their colleagues might judge them or classmates. I was always like, who would do that? Then apparently people actually do that. And yeah, what kind of message do you think this sends to our students?
Yeah, well, I think that's a big fear for anyone who is learning another language. Yeah, you have those insecurities. You want to sound intelligent, and to sound intelligent, you don't want to make mistakes. Oops.
Absolutely, my laptop agrees with you.
And I think that's absolutely the wrong message. It's something we all feel and we can all relate to when we speak another language, that insecurity, that fear. But I mean, making mistakes is just part of the reality of speaking a foreign language, of speaking a language. I mean, I make mistakes when I speak English, and I'm a native English speaker. I mean, I have said stupid mistakes. The thing is, when it's your own language, it doesn't really bother you. You just make the mistake, and oh, well, the other person understood what I was saying, so I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to worry, and I will just keep going. Yeah. But like one time I do theater and I was doing a show and I stopped to ask someone a question. And you know how when you start to say something and then in the middle you change it to something else and then the two sentences don't really go together. And so I said, "Oh, what are your name?" because I was going to ask two people, what are their names? But then I changed and just decided to focus on one person. I said, what are your name? Like the first day of class in English, you learn how to say, what is your name? And I said it wrong. But I just laughed and I said, oops, what is your name? Obviously. And I continued. Not a big deal.
Absolutely. And actually, I'm so glad that you brought this up because, for example, like when I'm watching some shows, there are so many mistakes that are being made, and it's totally okay because being a native speaker or speaking the language does not mean that you're gonna use the proper grammar, proper everything 100% of the time. It's okay to make mistakes. I think that if the person that you're talking to has learned at least one more language, they would never ever laugh at you for making a mistake because they're smart enough to understand your struggle and how difficult it is to speak a second language. So if somebody like laughs at you for making mistakes in English, just say this to them: hey, guess what? Talk to me in Spanish. Oh, you can't. Okay, German? No, you can't either. Oh, too bad.
I like to think of the way that the best language learners learn language. Who's the best? Children. Yeah, children pick up language like this. And how do they do it? By making lots and lots of mistakes. Do they worry about people laughing at them or not speaking the language perfectly? No, they just jump in and they're not constricted by all of these fears and inhibitions. So I encourage my students to try to have the mentality of a child. Just jump in and use the language, communicate any way you can. If you make a mistake, no big deal.
This is the whole point. If you make a mistake, it's totally okay. And if you do not think about making mistakes, you are more likely to say the things in a correct way. Why? Because if you're worried about making mistakes, then you're like, oh my God, is it R, is it? And then you don't know what to say anymore. You're confused. Your brain is not working properly. You're like, oh my God, they're judging me. Or you can go like, oh my God, they're judging me. Who cares? I'm speaking in English. And one more thing, I always tell my students that I'm very proud. I know that I have an accent. And regardless of the language that I speak, every native speaker is going to say to me, you have a bit of an accent, even when I speak Tunisian or Arabic, because I've lived abroad for more than 13 years. So now I have an accent. And I'm like, yes, you know what's that you're hearing? That's my journey in life. That's my culture. That's the people that I met. Those are the experiences that I've had. Like, it's the life that I lived. So to all of the people who have an accent, don't worry about it. That's you. That's your wealth. You know, you're very rich. So don't worry about it. Should we try to be better all the time? Yes, of course. Do you think, Mike, I should hire a pronunciation coach?
For you.
I don't know. I was watching this video and I was like, why do I say always sorry? Am I like Mara from the Valley? That sounds wrong.
Well, another thing you have to realize is that in English, as with almost all the languages in the world, there are multiple accents. There are multiple ways of saying something correctly. I mean, I get hate for my accent, for my American accent, yeah, from British people or Australians or even Americans from different areas. They make fun of me. It's like you can't win. Yeah, there's no one perfect way to speak. I mean, even the Queen's English, only about 2% of Brits speak with that pronunciation. It's in a huge minority. It's only people who have studied in British schools abroad. But nobody in the UK really speaks like that, you know? So I mean, come on.
Oh my God, this is so funny. But I know, like, in the moment when that happens, and you know, you get hate, you feel so sad, but then you just realize that you're like, having haters is a proof of success, Mike. So if you do have haters, you should be like, yeah, I made it.
That's a great reaction. It's so true. Yeah. Once you get to a certain size, a certain amount of success, it's inevitable that you inspire envy in some people. And it's sad, but it's true. People look at other people who are doing well in life, who are achieving and successful, and
They
they
want a
just
piece of it. I think that all of my students need to understand that you want to have a safe place when you're learning English. You need to remember that it's okay to make mistakes. It's perfectly fine. You are already doing an amazing job. And if you didn't realize that, be proud of yourself for your progress. All right. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining me today. You are just amazing. Guys, make sure to follow him. He has the best videos. When I started my Instagram account, I was like, oh my God, that is the best teacher ever. So yeah.
thanks. You're awesome. You're awesome. I'm thrilled to see where you have gotten, and I'm always excited about the new things that you are developing.
Oh,
You're always surprising me.
are you asking, and are you curious about the things that I'm planning?
I
Yes.
have seen some videos that have piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, well, the thing is this, as I was saying, I've learned so many languages myself, and I'm a teacher and I'm a learner. So I have like found these amazing tools, and I've been thinking for like over 6 months how to put them together, how to create something that actually can help students learn a language, speak the language. So if you guys want to join, make sure to register. The link is below. Thanks, guys. Remember, like, subscribe, notification bell, same for Mike. All right. I would like to add one more comment if you happened to see the video. Actually, what I find so unfair, it is true that I made some mistakes. However, what I would like to point out is that I always prepare my lessons. I never just sit there and start talking. Even though I have been teaching English for over 12 years, I always double check the rules, and I usually use references such as Cambridge and so on. What I find particularly mean is that some parts of my videos were cut. It shows the part where I was commenting, and before I finished the rule, the person was commenting and saying that I was teaching wrong rules. And I was like, what? And then I said Christmas or Eid. The person making the video said she means Christmas Eve. I find this interesting. I find it interesting that someone who does not know other cultures, other things, just assumes things and based on that corrects my mistakes. It's Eid, and before you correct how I say it, it's a Muslim holiday. The next point that I found really interesting was I was speaking in German, and guys, I grew up speaking English. Almost everyone can say the word cool. So to make me sound ridiculous, they actually cut a part where I was speaking in German, and the person was correcting my pronunciation. And here I was like, okay, I think this is pretty much hate gone wrong. Thank you for your support again. Thank you for all of the super thanks and the love. You guys made me feel loved and special and protected. I love you so much. See you soon.